welcome back to my channel. This is Chioma Stitches and my name is Chioma. It is so good to be back. I've been so busy that I've not had time to create content in a while, but honestly it feels really good to be back, and I decided to start off with this really cute, classy and sexy two-piece that I think will look really beautiful on you. So when you do try yours, don't forget to let me know. Okay, it's Chioma Stitches across all social media platforms. So let's get to it. So I have 3 yards of fabric here, and I'm sure I'm going to have leftover fabric. So I'm going to make it like a circle skirt and a top. Now to achieve this design, you're going to be making the waistline of your skirt wider than what it's actually supposed to be. So you should have an extra for the wrap effect. Okay, so the length depends on your choice on what you would prefer. So I'd like mine to be longer than my knee length. I am going to go ahead and fold this fabric into a bias form, and I'll fold it twice. You need to have pins to keep the fabric together because it's quite slippery, and so it's going to lose position after you've arranged it. So do well to pin so you don't get something different from what you've already marked out. Now to fold this bias effect, this is what I'm going to do. This is the yard part of the fabric. That's the selvage. I'm going to pick up this other side. So I'm going to pick up this edge of the fabric, and I'm going to fold it into a triangle towards the selvage of the fabric on this direction. Okay, so you need a lot of space to do this, and that is why I had to extend the table to use the full length of the table. And don't forget to pin. Like I said, if you don't pin, it is going to move. The fabric will move. Okay, so I folded it once, and I'm going to go ahead and fold it again. I'm going to pick this other side and I'll fold it again. For those, in case you would want to know, the fabric I'm working with is Duchess fabric, and it's silky. Okay, in other words, any silk fabric will do just fine. So my waist measurement is 28 inches, and I'm going to be adding 12 inches for the overlapping, and of course for hemming the sides. Okay, so I have 40 inches. Now 40 inches divided by 4 is going to give me 10 inches. So I'm going to try and get 10 inches here. Okay, so now I'm going to place my tape from the edge of this place, and I'm going to have 24. I'm just going to go ahead and trace 24. I'm going to trace the 24 all around. Now let's see what this gives us. So this is exactly 10 inches on fold. Okay, so this is what I want. And now I'm going to work on the length. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm moving it up. Now I'm going to be making it 28 inches. Also note that I'm going to be having like 2 inches or 1.5 inches for the band. So 28 inches minus 2 inches is going to give you 26 inches. Okay, now I need half an inch at the top for the waistline to join the band to the skirt part. Okay, so I'm going to be marking at 26.5 inches. Now I can cut this out. Okay, now to maintain the length that I said I want for this skirt, I forgot to add half an inch for hem at the end here. So instead, I added half an inch at the top here for the hem, so that the hem is also accommodated. This also reduces the edge from 10 inches to maybe 9.5. Okay, so also know that, and good thing it's a wrap skirt. If it was not a wrap skirt, this would have been a big mistake. So always remember to add your allowances before you put that scissors, because once you cut it, there is no going back. Okay, so this is what I have, and I want to create a little bit of drama, more like an effect around the hem of the skirt. So I'm going to come up, let's say come from here, and I'm just going to dot and take it this way. Now I have joined the edges together, as you can see, and this is the part on fold. Okay, so I folded it into 2 instead of into 4 now to create this effect. You can try to leave your own the way it is, or you can create this effect if you want. It's totally up to you. Okay, I'm even thinking of coming up a little bit more. Okay, let's go up a little bit more, and then take this down this way. Now this is totally optional, guys. I just want this. Okay, you can make yours the same way, or you can even curve it from the end here. Okay, you can actually come up here and do this from the top. It is completely and totally up to you. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and make this cut. To join this, okay, so to finish off this skirt, I'm going to weave this place first, and then I'm going to fold it in by hemming it just once. But before then, I'm going to go ahead and fold this one into two and hem it here on fold, like half an inch folded into two. Okay, and I included it in my measurement when I was adding it. Note that. Okay, so I'm going to set this one aside. I'm going to cut out the band.
Okay guys, so after cutting this out, I tried it on my body and I didn't like how it came out, so I'm going to be recutting another one. Now if you want to make this style where you can cut it, the drama on the side, where you can cut it all the way up more like a slit, you can do that on a 360 flare. I don't think you should do it on this particular flare because it didn't come out as nice as I wanted it to. Maybe it's just me. Okay, so because I have excess fabric left, like I said, I'm working with 3 yards of fabric, I'm going to be recutting another one. So I've already traced it out. As you can see, the waistline and the hem, I'm just going to go ahead and cut it out. And then
now to curve the side of the skirt, I have it folded in half now. So you can see it's folded in half. So I'm just going to take out very little on the side. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this part. So I'm going to use an interlocking stitch, that's a weaving machine, to weave the down part, that's the hem of the skirt, and then I'll fold it once and just sew it to give it a neat finishing at the end. That's how I try to sew my curved surfaces. If you try to hem your curved surfaces by folding it twice, it doesn't give that nice straight finish. So it is better when you just give it a first weave it and then fold it only once and top stitch. Okay, but for the sides, this part, this straight part, I'm going to go ahead and hem it, folded it into two. So you're going to go ahead and measure the waistline, so you can know how many more inches you can add to the rope we are using for the band, because the band is going to have an extension for rope, so you can tie it, obviously, because there's not going to be any zip. So measure the waistline and add maybe 20 inches to it, or 30 inches, depending on the quantity of fabric you have left for tying it, making the knot at the back. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside. Now this is the part we use in cutting out the top. I have 2 of this because I cut out the skirt twice. To use this leftover fabric that was used to cut out the flare from the top, because you'll be needing a lot of fabric, that is why you have to buy at least 3 yards for this. Okay, so don't look at it as just the top is small and you don't need too much fabric. You'll be needing it because you'll be using the same fabric as the lining piece for the top. Okay, now this curved part is going to come in handy for the top we're trying to create, so that's why I need this part. Okay, so I'm just going to turn it this way, and you can decide how long you want the top to be. Okay, all right, so cut out the bralette. I'm going to be starting with the front and using this piece that we used to cut out the flare part. I'm using it because it has the effect that I need. It has the curved effect that I want for the front, so it will give this waviness. Okay, now to cut this front part, I'm going to come down here from the top. I'm going to mark like 3 inches down. Now this 3 inches is to create the bralette effect, at the pointy effect around the bralette. Okay, now I'm going to mark out like 0.75 inches for sewing allowance. This is like, you need it for the side. Okay, now from this place, I'm now going to mark down like 8 inches that I'll be needing for this bralette, for the length of the bralette. Note that. Now coming towards this place, I'm going to come from here, from this 0.75 inches, I'm just going to extend like 4 inches or 5 inches to the top. 5 inches here, so this is the 5 inches. So I'm going to rule it from here like this to this place. You see what I'm doing? And then from here, I'm going to just come down a little bit, give it a little bit of pointy effect, just to create that bralette effect. So I have 5 inches here. You can come down to like 4 inches here, and then maintain from here. Just maintain it maintain this curve that's here. I hope you can see what I'm doing. Alright, then from this part I'm going to roll all the way. Now you can trace it with your hand and connect it. I want towards the end to be like tinier. So I've marked it from here towards the end. Just follow your marking. Okay, you're having a little bit of curve here as well as you are going in and you're going towards that end. Now you can make the front piece as long as you want because it's a wrap top and it's going to have the wrap effect. So make it as long as you want. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. Because I'm going to use the same fabric as the lining piece, it means this piece that I've cut out, I'm going to be cutting it out four pieces of it. And when you're cutting it out, make sure that the four you are cutting, that two will be same direction. You don't want to have all of them being on the left. You have to have two to the left and two to the right. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out and I'm going to use it as a pattern to cut out the rest. Okay. Okay, so this is the shape I have. So when you are wrapping it now, by the time you create the wrap effect, there will be room for the bust to breathe. Are you seeing what I'm doing? Okay, if you create it, so I'm going to use this now as a pattern to cut out the other piece. Now from both 34, 35, 36, you can use say 7 inches or 8 inches downwards. You can use up to 8 inches. Now if the person is very busty, then you go lower, depending on how busty the person is. Okay, so now that I have two pieces of this, it means one is for the left, one is for the right. I'm just going to use it to cut out two more as the lining pieces. Okay, so these two now we have is for one for the left, one for the right. I've cut out the bands as you can see. I cut it as 2.5 inches and the length is just like 50 something inches. Okay, as long as you want. It has to be long enough to go around the wrap skirt and you have a little bit extra to make a knot with. I want to cut out the back piece of the bralette. Now to do that, this is the leftover fabric. I'm going to fold this in half. Now this is going to be the center back. My bust divided by 4 is 8.5 inch, 8.75 inches. That's bust 35. I'm going to mark this and I'll add 0.75 inches to it for joining allowance. Okay, so from here, this is going to be where it starts. Now you measure, you know the length you have used on the bralette on the front side. So what we have here is 8.5 inches. I'm going to measure 8.5 inches down. And then from here, I'm going to divide my underbust measurements. My underbust, I'm going to use 27 inches divided by 4 is 6.75 inches. I'm going to mark 6.75 inches. And then I will add the 0.75 for hemming. Okay, so this is what I have. I'm going to connect these lines. Let me just transfer this pin. I'm going to connect this line with a straight mark. And when you have connected it, also take your measurements to be sure we are still on track. And we are measuring for 8.5 inches. Okay, so this is 8.5 inches. So this is where it comes. Now for the back part, I'm going to make the center back smaller than the front. Okay, the center back is going to be smaller. Since this place is 8.5, I'm going to make sure this place comes to like 6 inches. So you find the middle of the back. Find the middle of the back, and I'm going to come down here to say 3 inches. I'll add a little for hemming, so you can say 3.3 and come up here and mark 3.3 as well. So I'm going to connect this. The one on the top side, I'm using a bit of the curved side of the ruler instead of using a straight part to just, you're not like creating any curve, just make sure it's not completely straight. Okay, so you're marking where the top of this dress is going to be. I'm indicating with my chalk. I'm going to go ahead and cut this out and then cut another one exactly like this, an identical one for the lining piece. this is how the back is going to be. Okay, this is how the back is going to be. I'm just going to cut another piece for the lining. So now that I'm done cutting out the pieces, it's time to sew. So this is the skirt, obviously, and this is the skirt band. Like I said, you cut the skirt band to be longer than the skirt waistline, and you have a little bit extra to make a knot with. Okay, so this is what I have, and it can make yours even longer than this, but this is what I have left, and I'm going to just manage it, or I can even extend it if I want, add a little bit of rope to it. That could work, but I'm going to be hemming here with 1 inch on this side, hemming here with 1 inch, so it will also reduce it a little bit. So I'm going to hem here with 1 inch, but I'm going to go ahead and join this one. Okay, so this is the skirt and the skirt band, and then this is the front of the bralette, one side, and this is the other side. So this is how it's going to come. I'm going to place it like this. Okay, so this is one side, and this is the other side. This is the armhole. Okay, this is the armhole. So it's going to cross each other like this. This is the method. It's going to cross here. This one is going to come from this side and come all the way to the underbust, while this one goes to the underbust. Of course, you can now make a knot at the back. All right, so this is how this is going to be. So I cut out this piece for the rope for the neckline. Okay, the neckline is going to have a rope that goes around the neck, and this is it. So I'm going to make a rope out of this, sew it with 0.3 inches, and use a loop turner to turn it inside out so we can attach it to this. You have to make it first before you start sewing this. So after making the rope, you are going to attach the rope and then sew this one all here. But before you sew this, you have to attach it to the back first. So the process is going to come one after the other. So I'm going to try my best to follow it slowly so that and record everything so that you can recreate it just exactly as it is. So this is for the neckline, the rope, and then we have the back piece, the back of the bralette. This is it. This is how it's going to come. So I cut 2 of it. Like I said, it's going to have lining, so the main fabric is also the lining. So I'm going to go ahead and run a straight stitch with 1/2 inch all the way here, and do the same thing here, leaving this place open so we can turn it inside out before we can now attach it to the top and then attach the rope. So I'm going to make a rope out of this as well as I'm sewing this. So I'm starting with this ones. So let's set this one aside, and then for the back, for the skirt part, I'm going to go ahead and hem here. Okay, so here I'm going ahead to hem the sides. As you can see, hem this side as well, and I've marked the center. Okay, here like this. So I've marked the center, I pinned it where I'm going to start attaching the band. So this is the band I want to attach to it. So I'm going to take out the pins for the band. Pin it. So I'm going to pin the middle as well, like so. So I know this is where it's going to stop. So I'm just going to mark it. This indicates the end of the skirt. So I'm going to turn it this way. This part first, I'm going to put back this place, and I'm going to go ahead and sew here. I'm going to sew the end here and sew the end here, and then I'll show you how I'm going to attach it to this side. Okay, let me do that first. Meanwhile, I've gone ahead to sew the sides of the back piece, and I'm going to turn it inside out. I'm going to go and iron this. I'll iron both sides and keep it flat so that we can attach it to the front piece. Okay, so I've made the ropes. As you can see, I've made the ropes that I'm going to be using for the neckline, and then this is to the part. I had to extend the rope for the band, so it will be long enough for me to make a knot at the back. Okay, you can choose to extend it, just add extra fabric, that's it. So I'm going to use like I've sewn the parts, the excess of the band. I'm going to go ahead and use this loop turner to turn it inside out. Do the same on this side. And now I'm going to go ahead and iron this band. Let me iron this part. Yeah, so I'm going to bring this part. Come here. Now this part, At the end here, you are going to make a notch where your sewing stops. At the end where your sewing stops, you are going to make a notch so that you can easily attach it. So I'm going to place this ones like this, and I'm going to go ahead and sew. I'm going to sew from here all the way to the other end. And we have, because I'm going to weave here as well, I'm going to use an overlocking stitch to make it neat. Okay, so I'm going to weave it and it's going to come out clean. So you can now iron the band, that's the excess of the band for tying it at the back. I'm going to go ahead and join this waistline and then iron this band. Alright, so here I've gone ahead to iron the back piece. Alright, this is the back of the bralette. I've ironed it. This is the front pieces. This one is one side of it and this is the other side. Now I want to show us how we are going to attach this. Okay, first I'm going to open up this, taking this out. Now remember, we're using 0.75 inch as our allowance. I'm going to place this like this and put this part here. Now you are placing this like this. Now you can first of all fasten this place to keep it in place before bringing this side and placing it on top of it. Okay, so I can bring out the other side from here, as you can see. Now also this particular one, I'm going to attack the loops. So I'm going to place this rope here. So I'm placing the loop in here and I'm going to go ahead and pin it. I want to first of all go and sew here and here, following this mark. These are sewing allowance. I'm going to sew here with half of an inch, here half of an inch, and sew the down with half of an inch as well, and stop here first. And this is the other side, and I'm going to start with here. This is supposed to be like this. So if I take out the pins from this one, I'm going to pass this like this, like so, and I'll place this one here just like I did the other side. Use my pin to hold it down, and then take this other piece and place it right on top. Also, don't forget the second loop. I'm going to place it here and then bring this side down. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and sew from here and stop here, and I'll do the same thing on this side and stop there as well. I've gone ahead to sew here and done the same thing on this side. So I'm just going to bring it out and bring out this one. Now this is what we have. This is the back and this is the front. So it's supposed to come this way. All right, you can see that it's already taking shape. This is the top. You can see that it's taking shape already. So what I'm going to do now is go and finish off this side. Okay, so this is how it looks. The inside is going to look neatly finished, the outside will look neatly finished, and that's the plan. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to turn it inside out again, and this time around. So now note how I am doing this. I'm picking it, I'm going to pick it from the down part. Okay, look at this. So from this down part, I'm going to turn it inside out again from the down part. Okay, so that I can sew it. So I'm going to go ahead and sew here from here all the way here, and sew here, and then I'm going to leave a little space here where I'm going to turn it all inside out, and I'll repeat the same, and I will repeat the same thing on this other side. Okay, so just follow this method. this is our bralette, as you can see. The opening where I turned it inside out, that is why I kept it on the down part. I'm going to go ahead and top stitch it, and then I will give this a neat ironing all around. And then I'll give it a neat ironing all around. Okay, I've ironed out the skirt after joining it. This is what I have. Okay, the skirt is ready, almost at least. I'm going to use an interlocking stitch to sew the hem and sew the waistline, the joining, and then I will fold it in once to conceal the hem neatly. I will iron it out and then I will try it on and show us how it looks. If at this point you are yet to subscribe to this channel, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe to this channel so you get notified whenever I drop new content, and hopefully I am back for good and will be dropping content every week like I usually do. Don't forget to leave comments in the comment section to keep this video having more engagement, because more engagement equals more views and more views equals more encouragement for me to do more. So see you guys in my next tutorial. Thank you for clicking on this video today. Bye bye.